Coming up on today's show, 3 of the world's largest oil companies are dealt critical blows as courts and investors grow tired of their inaction on climate change. Lordstown announces it's running out of money, putting its endurance pickup production plans in jeopardy, and how it's now possible in one part of the US to lease a Nissan LEAF for 99 cents. But there is a huge catch. These stories and more coming next. Welcome back to TN Transport Evolved News. In fact, welcome to the last roundup of May, and if you're in parts of the world where it's a holiday weekend, I hope you've got some extra time off. Go on, you've earned it. This show is sponsored by the Electric Auto Association. Stick around until the end of the show to find out how joining the EAA can help you finance your own clean energy or transportation purchase. We start today's show with what I'm going to call Big Oil's worst ever week. It is essentially the beginning of the end, the start of the tolling bell, the raven that says no more, the grim coiling oil's name. You see, on Wednesday, a Dutch court ordered Royal Dutch Shell to cut its carbon emissions by 45% by 2030. And the very same day, Chevron's board of management lost a vote against investors, who voted in a motion to force the company to cut its carbon emissions. And if that wasn't enough, a tiny activist investor group hedge fund, backed by Exxon's second largest corporate shareholder, BlackRock, succeeded in getting 2 climate activist board candidates nominated. These board members now represent 1/6 of Exxon's board, but 8 of Exxon's nominations also won seats. The message is simple: change or become part of the history books. Ford held its official Capital Markets Day this week, a streamed event similar to Tesla's Investor Days and Volkswagen's Power Day. In addition to committing to spending $30 billion on electric vehicles and battery technology by the end of the decade, Ford CEO Jim Farley said that the company wants 40% of its global sales to be electric by 2030. This was later broken down by Farley's colleagues, who reiterated that Ford believes 1/3 of all pickup trucks and 70% of all commercial vehicle sales would be EV in the same timeframe. During the presentation, Ford outlined its plans for battery cell production, including multiple different chemistries for different applications, and it announced that it believed commercial solid-state batteries were feasible in the next few years. Watch this space. During the 8 years that it's been in production, BMW has gradually upgraded the features and range of both the i3 and i3 Rex, improving the battery pack from 18.2 kWh usable to 37.9 kWh usable. It's even allowed customers in some markets the option to upgrade their car's battery pack for a larger one. For a fee, obviously, something that's relatively unusual in the EV world. But this week we learned that BMW is being not so forward-thinking with its telematics. You see, the 3G telematics module in early i3s will stop working in February next year, when the last of North America's 3G cell towers are deactivated. BMW, writing to affected customers, tells them that, quote, there is not a technology upgrade available. Which means if you have an early BMW i3, you can say bye-bye to all the native connected services, including preconditioning and charge monitoring. Here's hoping the Open Vehicle Monitoring System adds the BMW i3 to its list of supported vehicles. Lordstown Motors has been promising the automotive world the moon on a stick for some time, holding plenty of public relations events, and yes, even using the then president and vice president to help it gain some extra credence and publicity. But this week, Lordstown's CEO has announced that the company has more than halved its production goals for this year and is in need of some extra capital in order to help it reach volume production. If you've been watching this show for any length of time, you'll know this is hardly a surprise, especially given it's currently being investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission over statements made on pre-order volumes, and it's also managed to burn through $125 million in the first quarter this year. Frankly, it's not looking good. When the Tesla Model 3 entered into production in 2017, it became the very first Tesla to feature a driver-facing camera. When Tesla began production of Model Y a few years later, it too featured that same camera. And now, thanks to the design refresh for Model S and Model X, that camera is now in all of Tesla's vehicles. Originally, Tesla said the camera was to prevent people from vandalizing cars when those cars were being used in robotaxi mode. Then last year, it activated the cameras for the first time, asking owners if they'd allow Tesla to take videos and pictures it said it would use to develop safety features and enhancements for the future. Now it's confirmed that camera will be actively used to monitor driver inattentiveness, something that should prevent, or at least reduce, instances of driver autopilot abuse. Tesla, it's about time. Thank you. Last week, after Ford unveiled its F-150 Lightning pickup truck, there are a lot of unanswered questions about the truck's real-world range, most noticeably from those who worried that with a load on board or when towing, the F-150 Lightning's real-world range would be, frankly, subpar. This week, Ford addressed those concerns, telling a group of journalists, including myself, during an online briefing that the EPA target ranges that Ford has quoted, 230 to 300 miles, which is 370 to 482 kilometres, were calculated with 1,000 pounds, 453 kilograms of load on board. And as YouTuber MKBHD discovered when he had a prototype F-150 Lightning visit his studio this week, unladen range could be significantly higher. Think upwards of 400 miles, 644 kilometres. The Hyundai Motor Group, the parent company of Hyundai, Kia and Genesis, is readying itself to slash the number of different internal combustion engines it produces. In a report from Reuters, sources close to the company said that the reduction in engine models will result in one half of its current internal combustion engine variants ceasing production completely, reducing options for ICE customers, but also freeing up its resources to allow it to focus on new electric vehicle drivetrains, electric vehicles, and hydrogen fuel cell vehicle development. It's not clear when the change will occur, but given the number of vehicles it's now promised on the group's new eGMP EV architecture, I suspect the move will be relatively swift to allow the company to reposition itself and remain competitive in the marketplace. We, and many others in the automotive world, have been eagerly awaiting the start of deliveries for the Rivian R1T electric pickup truck, which we'd all expected would begin at the start of June, as promised previously by Rivian. This week, Rivian announced that it's delayed the start of R1T deliveries by a few weeks, reaching out to Rivian R1T Launch Edition customers and informing them that initial pickup deliveries are being pushed back to July. It's a small delay, and Rivian says it will begin a test drive program for non-Launch Edition pre-order holders this August, with test drives due to take place in LA, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Detroit, and Seattle. If you've got an R1T on order, we'd love to know when you expect your delivery to occur, so let us know in the comments below. Ever since it was announced, the Extreme E race series has attracted a lot of attention, both because it's the world's first off-road electric race series and because it plans on visiting remote and endangered parts of the world to race electric vehicles while simultaneously highlighting the effects of anthropogenic climate change on the world's peoples. This weekend, the second official Extreme E race kicks off in Senegal, West Africa. Called the Ocean X Prix, drivers will race to victory on the beaches of Lac Rosé, while simultaneously highlighting the damage that microplastic pollution is having on the fragile ocean ecosystem, and thus the future of local fishing communities who rely on the ocean for their livelihoods. You can find out more by heading to extreme-e.com. Following President Biden's lead, a new bill that includes a change in electric vehicle incentives in the US, the Clean Energy for America bill, has made its first tentative steps towards becoming law by passing the US Senate Finance Committee. The bill seeks to increase the amount of incentives available for electric vehicle purchases, removing the old 200,000 unit manufacturer cap and replacing it with a 3-year phase-out period triggered when EVs reach 50% of all new cars sold. It keeps the old $7,500 federal tax incentive for new EVs, but adds a $10,000 incentive for EVs made in the US and a $12,500 incentive for US-made EVs produced by a unionized workforce. It also proposes a maximum sticker price limit for incentive eligibility of $80,000. And now, it's time for Short Shorts. Dodge is well known for its epic muscle cars of yesteryear and today, and now that the brand is part of Stellantis, there's talk of reinventing the muscle car for an electrified future. President Joseph Biden is looking outside the borders of the US for the metals needed to produce electric car batteries. Offshoring this aspect of EV production appeases American environmentalists, but it does hurt the domestic mining industry. California is investing heavily in the expansion of EV charging infrastructure, but a lengthy permitting process is making things pretty difficult. So the state legislature is considering a new law to significantly streamline charger approval process. As expected, the Australian state of Victoria has passed a truly draconian 2.5 Australian cents, about 20 US cents tax per kilometre driven for all electric vehicles. The law goes into effect July 1st and penalties will exist for EV owners who don't keep accurate trip logs. An arson attack on Tesla's Gigafactory Berlin building site failed to do any damage to the facility and no one was hurt. The left-wing Vulcan Group claimed responsibility in a statement attacking Tesla and electric vehicles as not being green enough. Seat's version of Volkswagen's ID.3, the Cupra Born, has made its debut. With sharp looks and more available horsepower than either Volkswagen or Audi siblings, this mild electric hot hatch is worth getting excited about. Despite corporate opposition, California has approved new emissions mandates for ride-sharing services that will require companies like Uber and Lyft to be 90% electric by 2030. UK manufacturer Integral Powertrain has announced a new 400 kilowatt electric motor designed for mass production that could further pave the way for the electrification of all types of transport. Lucid Motors has demoed the user interface for its Air sedan. It all takes place through the 34-inch screen that the company refers to as a Glass Cockpit, and a smaller display it calls the Pilot Panel. Kia has opened reservations for the first edition model of its new EV6 sedan. In addition to the exclusive colourways, the car is offered with a home charger, a charging credit, or a brand new Apple Watch. But the offer is limited to 1,500 reservations. Volvo's Torsund manufacturing facility in Sweden is the company's first to go climate neutral for energy use, though we don't know yet about its waste management. Volvo has pledged that all of its plants will be climate neutral by 2025. 3 fully autonomous electric buses have begun carrying passengers in Cambridge, UK, as part of a trial programme that has been delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The buses look kind of weird. New York City has committed to purchasing 60 more battery electric buses by the end of the year, bringing the total in the city to 85. But with 5,800 buses operating in the Big Apple, there's a long way to go. The Royal Mail in the UK has now got its first all-electric delivery fleet. It's in Bristol, of course, thanks to Bristol's plan to enforce a clean air zone. Nissan's new Ariya electric SUV has made its official debut on public roads in Monaco. With the car due to begin deliveries later this year, it is finally exciting to see. The city of Birmingham in the UK is reminding residents and visitors alike that its new clean air zone kicks into effect next Tuesday, June 1st, immediately following the spring bank holiday break. Drivers of older cars that do not meet emission standards will have to pay £8 per day to drive into the centre of the city. Tesla has issued a voluntary recall for some Model 3 and Model Y cars to inspect a brake caliper bolt for proper tightness. The company says it isn't aware of any accidents attributed to the recalled part. Charging provider EVgo announced in April that it would partner with GM to install thousands of brand new rapid charging stations across its network, but a recent filing with the SEC shows it is way off target, falling behind with its planned rollout. GM is technically within its rights to sue for the tardy deployment, but has stated it is optimistic about the future of this venture. Microlino has put out a new teaser video of its Isetta-inspired Microlino 2.0 electric bubble car. As you know, we're all fans of microcars here, and this one really looks good. Leaked patents for Tesla's upcoming entry into the pickup market, the Cybertruck, hint at a possible maximum range in excess of 600 miles, 965 kilometres, as well as a dedicated towing mode, display, and some extra accessories. Nissan is moving forwards with plans for an expansion of its Sunderland, UK battery production facility, which it says could eventually have an 18 to 20 gigawatt capacity per year. The Volkswagen ID.4 topped the European plug-in sales charts last month, with the ID.3 coming in second place, though looking year-to-date figures tell us that the Tesla Model 3 does still remain top of the heap for now. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. In more than a decade of driving and covering the electric vehicle world, I've seen some truly amazing deals offered by car companies and dealerships alike that are designed to get people out of gas guzzlers and into EVs. Some of the best, $99 lease deals for the Fiat 500e several years ago, and some truly incredible cash-on-hood incentive deals. But one dealership in Springfield, Virginia has gone further than ever before, offering the Nissan LEAF for 99 cents for a 2-year, 10,000-mile per year lease. The only catch is that you need to buy a 2020 or 2021 Nissan Titan pickup truck. The dealership only had 5 long-range Leafs on its lot, but buying a gas guzzler to buy an EV? I can't decide if that's genius or just evil. And finally, General Motors has been working hard all year to rebrand itself and push towards an all-electric future, and as such, we have seen plenty of new electric vehicles announced and future models teased. But GM's latest electric vehicle? It's out of this world. That's because GM has just announced it's teaming up with Lockheed Martin to develop the Lunar Terrain Vehicle, an all-electric extraterrestrial vehicle that will provide mobility to astronauts on NASA's upcoming Artemis moon missions. GM was responsible for the drivetrain and batteries used in the Apollo moon rovers, so it's great to see GM return to the moon with Artemis. This time, GM says the LTV will have autonomous technology to keep astronauts as safe as possible on the unpredictable lunar surface. And yes, I have a mission patch. And yes, it's going on my Chevrolet Bolt, called Artemis. And on that note, we are done for the day. But before I go, I would like to thank the Electric Auto Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967, and they firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EAA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make your own switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you become a member, you'll gain access to a new clean energy and EV loan program that's been set up between the EAA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. Find out more by heading to electricauto.org. You might have noticed that we've just spun off our Shorts content onto a brand new channel called Transport Evolved Shorts. So if you have not already subscribed, please do. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and our Transport Evolved Take 2 channel as well. And so you don't miss out on all the content, make sure you ping those bells. If you'd like us to continue to grow, please become a Patreon, send us Ko-fi, or head to our Redbubble store. There's some new Pride content on the way. Every penny helps, and we're able to do so much more now than we were a few years ago, thanks to you. I'll be back next week, but until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend, stay safe, and keep evolving.